Welcome to Overcoming Adversity podcast, powered by Next Level Recovery Associates. I am one of your hosts, Amanda Marino, the founder of Next Level, as well as Amanda Marino Speaks. You can find me at Amanda Marino Official on all social platforms.
She's famous.
Shut up.
My name's Sarah. I am the managing partner at Next Level Recovery Associates, and my social media presence is pretty minimal, but we're working on it. We're working on it.
Yeah, you're stepping into a little bit of comfortability with it. And you just sent me a picture today. It's been a year since you've been podcasting with me.
Yes. Yeah, it is.
That's pretty cool.
I know. I showed Janine we were in our self-care shirts.
Oh, yeah.
And I was looking up at the ceiling the whole time when I was doing the podcast.
And a lot of blinking.
A lot of blinking. Rapidly. I've gotten better.
Hey, you saw my early videos, so.
Yeah, I know. They're amazing.
They were rough.
Yeah.
People think that you just start off and like are comfortable or good at this, and it's just not the truth.
No.
Nobody, I mean, I come from entertainment, and I never was like, I'm talking to my phone.
They weren't bad though.
Put a camera crew around me and like, I'm good. But put like me talking to my phone, not cool.
No.
So we were discussing what to talk about today, and I thought it'd be really interesting to talk about the different professionals we work with, and also maybe like explaining some things that we do that may be confusing to people. So first of all, if you need help with anything mental health related, substance use disorder, eating disorders, process addictions, struggling, feeling like you're the only one, we're here to support you. You can reach out to us anytime. Just putting that out there. And that's kind of one of our missions, is to put out good content, to let people know they're not alone, and provide different resources and professionals on our podcast that can help, people in all kinds of ways. Yeah. So Sarah, what's your favorite, I don't know, pick not favorite, it doesn't have to be your favorite, but like what is one of the things that we do as a service, as a company that you enjoy or would like to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I guess initially for sure it would be like our case management. I think that, obviously Companion, we have a high success rate, I feel like, but with the case management as well. I think that being able to, meet someone in a time where they're transitioning from whatever they're struggling with, like the eating disorder, mental health, substance use disorder, whatever the case is.
Failure to launch.
We love those. And being able to set them up with like a team is awesome. Like, so I love doing the initial calls, and I really like to get on the phone with the family and obviously the client as well, just to introduce like myself, and obviously, we're two peas in a pod, and just kind of like let them know like our service is a lot different than probably most of the experiences they've had. Like we come from a really like non-judgmental standpoint. We're real creative. I have a client right now that I'm introducing meetings to that's not really fond of, say, a certain fellowship, or switching it up to different fellowships, because my idea of how I stay sober and, have my mental health in check looks different than how you do it, So how can something be so generalized for everybody? And I think my favorite thing about us is how individualized we can get and how creative we can be. So, setting them up if they don't have like the therapist, a psychiatrist, their coach, they need a dietitian, whatever the case is, even, like a doctor, in general, and putting it together and really communicating with all the pieces. Because I'll tell the family all the time that the biggest transition is when they're in their home setting. It's not, before treatment to a certain degree. It's not during their inpatient treatment. It's really when they get out of treatment and life has still been going on. Things are still happening.
Yeah.
The kids are still there. The bills are still there. The anxiety of, driving somewhere is still there. And like how we can support them to make it through that transition so they don't have to backtrack to where they were before.
Absolutely. And I always use the words before, during, after, or in place of treatment, because, unfortunately, a lot of people that come to us have been to their lifetime going into residential programs for all different things. They've spent a lifetime, 20 years, 40 years, 10 years, whatever it is. And they can do well in that, comfortable, safe environment with with behavioral health techs and therapy all the time and groups and peers that are all, also on the same path. So, sometimes people come to us, they're kind of treatmented out and they just want to try another way. And so we can come up with a comprehensive plan with them, with a psychiatrist, with a psychologist. Our team is led by Dr. Jeffrey Hutman, and we do clinical rounds with him weekly. And, we take it very serious. We take this very seriously. Like
Yeah.
we don't, we will not accept someone we're not comfortable with.
Or that needs a higher level of care.
Yeah,
for sure.
we'll
Yeah.
help facilitate. If we do an intervention, we want people to start with treatment. And we have done interventions, which we call family meetings because it's a little bit more.
Sounds nicer.
It's more loving.
Yeah.
I don't say I'm an interventionist to a client. And we do a family meeting to where, sometimes the goal isn't to get them to residential care. It's to get them to go to therapy and psychiatry and take meds. So it's not this cookie cutter thing, and I love that, us along with many others, thankfully, in our field are moving in that direction to where, okay, if someone calls us for help, they have to do this, this, and this, or we're not helping you.
Yeah.
No, that's not where we are.
Yeah.
What do we do when someone calls us and they maybe want to stay on a medication or they maybe aren't fully sold on something? How do we meet them?
Meet them where they're at.
Right. How?
Supporting them. I mean, I feel like to a certain degree, obviously if there's a medication that we're like, they probably should get off it. Like, obviously we're going to be supportive, but, honest.
Yeah.
Building rapport and those type of things for sure, I think is like priority. Because a lot of times a family member may say like, you need to get off this medication. And when it comes from a family, they're like, go F yourself. And then when it comes from someone outside the family, someone that they're building a relationship with, someone like me and Amanda who really, I mean, I know people say that all the time, like, I'm non-judgmental. I really feel like I can say for both of us, I usually just speak for me, but knowing you as well as I know you, like, we really are like, people will tell us stuff. We're like, okay. Like the guy at lunch today.
Yes.
Prime example. A
psychiatrist.
Yeah. We were having a conversation with a psychiatrist at lunch, and this random guy came up to us and he was like, oh yeah, I've had a lot of legal trouble lately. And we were like, oh, okay. And he was like, no, I'm kidding. But like, we were like,
he was not kidding. No, he told me he was going to call me today. Oh, he was not kidding.
Oh,
He
I thought
heard
he
what
was
I was talking about, and he had a whole situation similar.
oh
yeah.
I thought he was joking.
So I didn't shut him down.
No, we were like, yeah, cool.
And
okay.
listen, we're not going to be the ones to suggest any medication changes.
No, for sure.
Like
No.
if something is something that's possibly a red flag, but a doctor is overseeing it and approves it, we support that.
Exactly.
A doctor that we trust,
100%.
Yeah.
If not, they can go to a different doctor.
And I did companioning work for, some years and second sharing interventions before I built Next Level and worked for a number of people. And I learned so many amazing things, but I also learned some things that I was like,
I want to ask you a question, actually. Okay. I see more and more people say that they're interventionists nowadays. Like, I feel like it's like I took that course, right? And I could say like, oh, I took an intervention course, but I'm not an interventionist. So all these people are doing interventions, but like, really, is there just like, there's the CIP, right? Which is what you have, but there's not a lot of people that have that. Like,
there's like eight of us in Florida. Imagine.
So like, what is like when someone's looking for an interventionist, how do you know they're actually really like certified as an interventionist?
Oh God, that's complicated. I mean, listen, there for a long time down here in South Florida, there was this woman who was offering this 4-hour course and calling it like certified event interventionist.
Yeah.
There's things you can do online that are short. You can say whatever. For me, I was terrified of that. I learned from a clinical interventionist. She was a clinician and an interventionist. So she wasn't just a licensed clinical professional. She was trained in interventions. And I learned a lot from her and some case management. And then I learned from a lot of other people. And I started to plan to build the CIP portfolio before I'd even taken an intervention training. So I was already like second sharing and getting the hours and the clinical hours. Because the CIP is like, it's like almost like it's not a license, but it's like one where you have to do every 2 years, update your CEUs. You have to stay do certain things to stay a member. Like I voted on something the other day for AIS, and it's, I would recommend go to AIS website.
I was going to say, what's AIS for people that don't know?
Association of Intervention Specialists. So it's very coveted, and they're even really getting much more niche-y on how they do things and really trying to educate. and collaborate and just keep the people that are doing the good work. Some of them are clinical professionals as well, and some aren't. But
Okay.
but intervention is a different skill set. Yes, if you are a clinician, Nick, and
Yeah,
you are
great.
an interventionist, and you do have that skill set too, that's amazing. But that doesn't mean just because you're a therapist, you could go be an interventionist. Like I wouldn't claim ever to be a therapist,
Yeah.
right? So it is a different skill set, but I would recommend people go to Association of Intervention Specialists website, because on there you're going to find a diverse group of people that have done a lot of work and continue to do a lot of work to be part of this agency and this organization. Do you have to have someone on there? No. Listen, there's great interventionists that don't. There's some people that are fantastic at what they do, but it really bothered me for a while down here in South Florida, and I'm sure it was all around the country, where people will go to a 4-hour certification and say like, before I took someone's family's life into my hands, I had been doing this work for 2 years.
Yeah.
But the hardest work was the companion work.
Yeah. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, the companion work was really hard. I was put in some dangerous situations and didn't have clinical oversight, and, left in a room with a psychotic client, waiting on guardianship in a hotel room. And we would never, ever put anyone that works with us in that situation. So I've done the companion work. I've done the transports. I've done all the things. I do the intervention, some of them still. But the companion work, you really have to be a special person. And I think it's really important, like how we know the people that work with us.
Yeah.
Like we're not going to send somebody on a job representing our company and not know them and know that they're credible and they're quality, and we've used a lot of the same people over and over and over. And so I feel for people that have applied, like it takes a minute for us. We want to get to know you. We want to see you. We want to watch you. We want to ask references about you before we bring you into our circle of trust, we'll say.
Yeah. I like that.
What movie is that from? What movie is that from? Fockers.
Meet the Fockers.
Meet the Fockers. And then there was another one before that.
Well, it was Meet the Parents.
Meet the Parents.
Then Meet the Fockers.
Then Meet the Fockers.
Yeah, it's like the circle of trust. Oh, the little Fockers.
The circle of trust. So yeah, I remember sitting with my former business partner, Blake, and deciding a year in, do we want to grow this massive list of contractors all around that can do everything, driving, transports, flying? And there is a need for that. But I just didn't want to be that. So we decided to be hand chosen. So we handpick everybody, or they're referred to us. Yeah. Occasionally I'll put a LinkedIn post up and I'll find somebody good, but we screen them, background checks, like all the things. They have to be CPR certified, first aid certified,
Narcan
insured, Narcan trained, and have reputable training and references. And I just think it's really important. And I think that it's, it's dangerous to just put some random person in a position like that you don't know.
Yeah, 100%. I give anybody, listen, I like doing all the back end stuff, which I'm great at, but I love our companions and what they do, especially our live-in companions, because it's not an easy job, and I think that it's a needed job for sure for the right people. And I think sometimes people hear about it and they want to do it, but in reality, like they don't know what it is. You know?
They think they're going to fly on private jets and go on bougie trips. And that is not always the case, my friends.
No.
Very rarely you will get something like that. And if you do get a job like that, please don't post pictures of you on the private jet or on somebody's yacht. It's gross. Just saying. But no, it's very, very challenging work. And it takes and it's with substance use disorder, mental health struggles, eating disorders, people going through crisis, going through breakdowns, going through changes of life. We have wellness associates, and we call our companions recovery associates for sober companions, and wellness associates for anything else that's outside of substance use disorder. And it's it can help people tremendously through a challenging time, for certain events, through certain really crucial moments. I'm here, here's your piece of paper, and this is your care plan, whether it's from your therapist and psychiatrist or it's from your aftercare team. That's like really hard to do in today's world. Yeah. That's all digital. Like to actually go out and go to someplace you don't know people, we'll do that with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say that, like, it's great to have this, plan that you're supposed to implement when you leave treatment. And I think for me, I would do really well in treatment, and then I'd get this plan. Okay, sounds good, and then like I'm like, yeah, I don't feel like doing this today. I don't want to go to a meeting. I don't want to go to ILP. I'm good, you know.
Yeah.
Or the other aspect where I didn't want to be in recovery. I went there to feel better, and then
Or to
went
shut
on.
people up.
Or to shut people up. Yeah. So I really like the concept of the companion, because I think that, and I've had this conversation, with a few like loved ones of clients, is they felt a little like hopeless in the situation with, whatever is going on with their family member, and just kind of the continuous relapse, or just whatever the cycle is, but obviously there's still a little hope if they're reaching out to us to try to do something different.
Absolutely. And I love it when people can come on the front end and have like the case management and the family coaching and like all the things, and then have us involved in the aftercare plan, and make sure like there's a strong aftercare plan and work with them for 6 to 9 months. Like that's like the dream,
Yeah.
Or if we have the intervention and have them all the way through and follow through with the aftercare plan. So there, it does make me sad what some people have to go through to get the help they need, but I guess that's their path and their journey. But I think there's a lot better options and opportunities for people to heal today.
Yeah. There
Not
are, for
everyone
sure.
needs residential care. Everyone used to be like, oh, you have a problem, you're put in residential care.
Yeah.
Like there is steps before that you can take, if it's life or death. Yes, definitely. You should go to detox.
Yeah, we've had people before that, maybe they relapsed and they had a drink, right? And they didn't want to go back they didn't need detox. They really didn't need to go back to a residential program, because they already know what they learned in residential.
Yeah.
So it's like taking the stuff from residential, right, and trying to implement it, but also us as working outside of a residential program, applying like tools that are needed for day-to-day life in the real world is like what I like to call it.
Right. And not, shaming them for that, because listen,
Just move forward.
That happens. Let's pick up the pieces. And if they go in that shame cycle, then that's what's going to bring them even further and deeper. I love the fact that I feel like we work with the best professionals as far as like, licensed clinicians of all different kinds, the psychologists that we partner with, psychiatrists, dietitians, the legal professionals. I think that we really, really are blessed with the people that come into our arena and who we work with, because we've been working with them all a long time.
I know.
Every once in a while a new one comes along. That's great. And we're like, awesome. But it's pretty steady. And we're always open to working with good quality people doing good work.
Absolutely.
So final thoughts.
No, I mean,
No final thoughts.
I don't even want to tell you what my final thought is, because you're going to think
Tell me.
I'm weird.
Yeah.
I like salmon. I don't know.
That's fine. We're keeping
Well,
that.
no, we had a good lunch. It was a salad. It was probably the best salad I've ever had.
It was amazing.
And I asked, she got shrimp, and she knew immediately, this is how close we are, that I was going to get salmon, not the shrimp. And it was black. And it was probably the best piece of salmon I've ever had. And I'm still thinking about it 2 hours later. So that's what, if you want to know what I was thinking, that's what I was
listen,
thinking.
on Overcoming Adversity podcast, we want brutal honesty.
I mean, that's what I was thinking.
My thought is, I can't say this enough, that if you are alone and struggling, or if you feel like you're alone and struggling and there's no one you can tell, and you feel so ashamed, please know that everybody out there is going through something. Everyone's struggling. And there's no shame in asking for help. Men, there's no shame in therapy. Women, there's no shame in anything that you go through. Kind of just a universal message and culturally diverse message that it's okay to ask for help, and that everybody's going through something. And some of us just talk about it, and some of people keep it inside. And, don't keep it inside, because I've seen too many people lose their lives. I've seen too many people destroy their lives. And I've seen too many people get diseases because they don't share their feelings. And that's some proven research on that now.
Yeah, wow. I mean, you make me look like I say I like salmon. You went into this whole spiel that was so good. And I feel the same way as Amanda. I just want to let everybody know.
And I like shrimp, all right?
Okay, you like salmon too. But like, it was like, that thing where you're like, what's your like biggest fear? And it's like something, and someone's like, oh, like mine was, X, Y, Z. Like that's what just
Listen,
happened.
I'm not, listen, at Next Level and Overcoming Adversity, we don't judge.
Yeah.
We don't judge, girl.
No, I know.
You know? All right. You can find us at nextlevelrecoveryassociates.com. Thank you so much for joining
Thank you.
Overcoming Adversity podcast. Give us 5 stars, share it with your friends.